It just swapped screens a little, I can't tell. Hello, everyone. I forgot to grab my notes. Una momento. Not many notes, but just like how to turn off the cameras. And showing you the lovely trailer that plays at the end. Okay, there we go. Well, I was just talking to Preston, our behind. What's your title? Video producer. And I can set up without looking at my notes. That's good. He called it growth. Okay, good. Here we are, my end of class notes. And then the lovely timer, so I don't go 15 minutes over like I once did. Let's get the timer going. All right, we are all set. So welcome to Release and Restore Breathwork. We're playing around with the lights. This is designer lighting. I messed around with this. Preston showed me how to do that. And I like it because my jacket is a complementary color to the background, which I think pops. So today, as I was thinking of a topic, because we like to have different topics, what to do, what to breathe through. Remember that you can always choose your intention. I am here to give suggestions. So it's often that people come to breath work just knowing, like, I have this pit in my stomach that I need to move. I had this wacky dream last night that really has me thrown off. It's telling me something, I want to move through it, or I had a difficult discussion with a family member and I really want to move through that, or I'm just kind of feeling, ugh. Or I really want to cultivate joy, or kind of on the other end of the ugh. If we swing a little bit to the other side, open our heart, creativity. I made a note that we did creativity last time, but I don't think we did. I think we did grief. But I didn't have enough time to go back and remind myself, so we're not going to do creativity today, although you certainly can. What I'm going to suggest is something that I have been working on a lot lately, which is the self-talk that we all have. So if we quiet a little bit, I mean, there are a few people I've spoken to who are like, I don't have it, it doesn't exist. That could be true. And most of the population, if we simply listen, we can hear a narrator inside our heads. And I actually don't know where this comes from, but I'm going to take a guess and say it's our prefrontal cortex. That's the front of our brain, literally right here, behind the forehead. And I believe it's the latest thing to form in mammals. So it's the last thing so far that has been moved around and revamped and updated, rebooted. I think I talked about it a little bit before. It's helpful to do things like this. So it helps us reason and connect and rationalize, and it can also get us into a spiral, which could be like, learning some big news, and if we feel like our head explodes, it's just too much. Contemplating our own existence can be fun, but it can also just make our head explode. Things like that. It can get a little out of control. As can our self-talk. So our self-talk can be helpful. It can also be like our worst friend. Oftentimes when we're not aware of it, it's our worst friend. We picture carrying that around with us, and it's no wonder that some of us are just having a crappy day sometimes, or in a bad mood. And it can really be helpful to steer us towards, what is there to be worked on. A lot of our fears show up, or a lot of my fears show up. One of my teachers reminded me this weekend that we often use words, we use wording that is like all-encompassing, like we, or they, versus I. And the all-encompassing words, like the we and they, us, there's a time and a place for that, absolutely, to like, point out that I understand it's not only me that's feeling or thinking this way. And it also can be a little unhelpful if we're only using those words, because we can kind of detach to ourselves and try to be less vulnerable, saying we, or we normally feel this, or we normally do this, or when like we blah, 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 instead of saying I. So I'm reminded to say maybe some I statements here. When I have, I'm just rambling, so I got off track. Let's go back to the self-talk. Choose one or two patterns that maybe you've started to notice just as I'm talking and you're listening about this self-talk. And choose the ones that tend to be not so helpful. So, for instance, these are called core beliefs. Some of them can go down to core beliefs. It's kind of like Western Psychology 101. Shamanism calls them the dark law. I'm sure other cultures and indigenous practices have their own name for it. But they tend to be beliefs about ourselves and the world. And these can really show up in different flavors in our self-talk when it's not so helpful. For example, a dark law that I could have about myself is that I am ugly. I am unworthy. I am bad. I'm going to die alone. I can't be trusted. Those things. And we can have them about the world. Pretty much the same thing, just reflect on the world. The world is ugly. The world can't be trusted. People die alone. The world is dirty. Fill in the blank. So if you sit with that long enough, you might start to come up with your own. We all have our own. They can be similar. And then as you think about that, you might start to feel into how this can play out with the self-talk. So if I believe I am ugly, well, that's actually, if I believe I'm wrong, that tends to be a big one for me. Which, by the way, if that's yours, what can help is to also realize you're not right either. Because I personally believe that right and wrong don't exist. There can be helpful and unhelpful things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right or that it's wrong, right? Because who's to say? Who is the ultimate being that says this is right or this is wrong? Maybe you don't share that belief, and that's okay. It is my personal belief. So I often have this, either I'm right or I'm wrong, and lately it's been I'm wrong. And I suppose that could be a core belief. Maybe attached to I am bad. That's a common one, especially in the West. We live in a very shame-filled culture, thanks to a bunch of things. So I am wrong you could think about how that could play out in things that I'm doing. I might get overly frustrated with myself, thinking that they're not perfect, they're not right enough. Or maybe, and how that I could hear it is just, let's pretend I'm typing on the computer. Oh, you misspelled that. Oh, that's horrible. That's you're such a horrible person. Painting. Oh, this is all wrong. This is horrible. This doesn't make any sense. Having a conversation with somebody. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. That's the wrong thing to say. That wasn't correct. Even as I'm saying that, I'm furrowing my eyebrows, right? Because it doesn't feel good. It's a stagnation. And by the way, I don't think it's the truth. And we could talk all day about what is truth, what is real. maybe that's a topic for a different day. So I hope I've helped to paint a picture of how this can look, and hopefully you've identified, if you want to, some of your self-talk patterns that maybe aren't so helpful, and if you want to breathe through a core belief about yourself or the universe, you sure can. Also remember, anything goes. So if you're simply here to breathe through a difficult conversation, please do that. If you're here because you want to open your heart, do that. If you want more creativity, more joy, more movement, if you just simply have an achy left knee and you want to devote this practice to that, that's okay, because there is no right or wrong. All right. Before we breathe, I'm going to give you the disclaimer that I give every time. Breathwork can result in intense experiences. You may find it physically, emotionally, or mentally challenging. If you currently have or have a history of the following conditions, you are encouraged to, I gotta redo this so I don't just scroll. You are encouraged to check with your doctor prior to involvement. Here's the list. Some of you might even be able to just repeat this with me because you've heard it so many times. Cardiovascular disease, heart attack, high blood pressure, if you take blood thinners, epilepsy or seizures, glaucoma, osteoporosis, severe asthma, bipolar, schizophrenia. What's at the end that I cannot see? Dissociative disorders, history of significant trauma, or if you are pregnant. Sensations you may feel during intense breathing are overexertion, emotionally, physically, spiritually, discomfort, disorientation, distress, hyperventilation, body shaking and twitching, crying, laughing, fill in the blank, muscle spasms, tetany, chest pain, chest tightness, numbness, your mouth might start to close, you may have coughing or a dryness in your throat or your lips. All of this is under the category of okay. I do encourage you to nudge up to your edges. So if something feels a little uncomfortable, I would put that in the realm of okay. Be cautious of kicking yourself over the edge. That's not what we're going for. So only you know what that is. So listen to your body. If something feels too much, please stop or slow down at least. Come back into your body, take a break, and then rejoin us in the breath. All right, let's start with you lying down. We always want to be lying down during breath work because of all those things I listed. It's a lot more helpful if you're lying down if you happen to faint, which I hope doesn't happen. And I'm going to lie down with you because it just feels good. And let's see if I could start the music from here. Yay! It's great when those things happen like that. Okay. And we've got 20 minutes on the clock. So we're going to start to stretch. Do any yawning, find a good place to lie down, get yourself comfortable. Feel free to grab blankets or pillows. There's talk in the breathwork world of not putting a pillow under your head. Many times I hear because it closes the throat and the throat chakra. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. I kind of forgot there was a camera. And that can be a thing. So just know what it feels to you. Do you want a pillow or do you want to try no pillow? And if it hurts the back of your head, wherever you're lying down, you could just maybe put a blanket under there if you want to see if you can open up your throat. And let's just allow ourselves to arrive. I've been talking a lot, you've been listening a lot. And just allow yourself to feel your body where you're at right now. Notice the self-talk. What's it saying? Maybe it's going to guide you towards your focus today. Listen to the music. It is very intentional. There are reasons I choose these songs. Just notice how you're breathing. Maybe you feel your pulse. You listen to the rate. If it's fast, maybe you try to use it as biofeedback to slow down. Mine's at a rate that I like right now, which makes me happy. It's been fast lately. It's normal that when you inhale, your heart rate goes up, and when you exhale, it goes down. So just know that if you're noticing the variable there. Continue to do any stretching or yawning, even kind of moving side to side, shaking out the legs or shaking out the hips. It can be a practice in moving out some of the backlog. Maybe reaching your hands up to the ceiling or the sky. Just any intuitive motions, scrunching up your face. Are you thinking of your dog or a cat? If you have animals at home, when they are repositioning, they get up and they do a bunch of stretches and they yawn, and then they curl themselves back up and lie down. It's a thing. And then if it feels good, we can take a few breaths together just to help us get more into our bodies, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. I was just reminded what we did last time. We did box breathing. We didn't do creativity. Breathing in through the nose. And then out through the mouth or nose, whatever feels good. See if you can allow yourself to be as you are. We oftentimes are really happy when we're feeling quote unquote good. And it's common for us to get down on ourselves when we're feeling quote unquote bad. Those heavier, more stuck emotions. Or maybe things are just kind of moving and we feel a little off, as I do today. It's okay. That's part of life. We're here to experience the whole gamut, is that a word? The whole realm of emotions, whether our society deems it as good or bad, which also I do not think exists. Things can be great or they can be not so great. We can like it or we cannot like it. Doesn't mean it's bad. I don't know. Just stay in tune with your breath. Bring in your intention, bring that into your mind and your body and your spirit. Just noting, hey body, here's our intention today. Here's what we're breathing about. We're breathing about this self-talk pattern that tells me I'm no good, tells me I'm worthless, tells me I'm wrong, tells me I'm better than everybody. It can go the other way. Tells me I'm always going to feel X. I'm always going to be fearful. I'm always going to be depressed. I'm always going to be sad. I'm always going to be manic. You can say that to your body and then trust that your body heard it, and then you let it go. So it's not really a mantra you need to hold on to as we're going to do this breath. So for those of you who have never done this breath, it's a 3-part breath. The first breath is in through your tummy. The second is in through your chest. Stay lying down, but I'm going to show you real quick because I forgot I didn't show you. Tummy, chest, exhale. It's in and out all through your mouth. It looks and sounds like this. Tummy, chest, exhale. Join in with me whenever it feels good. Continue. Breathing. Burping is also common. It's a sign you're moving stuck energy. Again, you're lying down. Even if I'm sitting down, you are lying down. Even as I'm talking, you are breathing. So continue this active breath, and we'll do this for a few songs, and then we will relax. And I will let you know when that happens. When I say relax, you just go back to your typical breathing with not needing to control it. In and out through the mouth. If that rate feels good to you, keep up with that rate. If it's too fast for whatever reason, slow down. If it feels too slow, speed it up. Know that if you speed up, you're more likely to feel the sensations and maybe feel a little bit of a little bit of heebie-jeebies. Know that that's good. It's looked at as you're moving through the stuck energy. It's what we're here to do. Also, honor some days we need to be more gentle with ourselves. That also tends to happen with breath work. Clearing the stuff out. And you're using your throat a lot, so it's gonna get a little scratchy maybe, or some phlegm is gonna come up, totally normal. It's nerve-wracking for me to stop talking because I feel like I'm gonna lose your engagement. And if you were here with me, I would not be talking this much. No siree, Bob. I'd be quiet. So I'm gonna do that. We're gonna have a little bit of silence for 2 minutes, and I'm gonna trust that you're gonna continue to breathe at whatever pace feels good to you, and if you start feeling a little too much, slow down or take a pause. Here we go, 2 minutes. Here I am back in your ear. It amazes me every time I go against my natural inclination to pause and kind of do nothing. You probably have this experience where time seems to take a long time. And when we're focused on something, it just swings by. Oh, time. Crazy thing. Keep breathing in and out through the mouth. You might start feeling sensations if you already haven't. Again, common ones are numbness and tingling, feeling like a cough needs to come up. Maybe you're hiccuping, maybe you're burping, maybe the throat is dry and scratchy. Feel free to wet your lips, take a swallow, clear your throat, wring yourself out. You can get up. It's gonna cut off my head here. You can get up and shake yourself out. You don't have to, there's no like have-tos during breath work. You can get up and do a little bit of this if you feel the need to. This is a totally normal thing to do if we're feeling like we're stuck and you're lying on the ground, you just can't get it out. We store a lot here, so shaking the hips or moving the hips, especially if you have some tension or low back pain. You can also do that lying down, but just giving you some options here. And when it feels like, okay, whew, all right, blah, come back to your spot, lie down, and continue the breath. We've got maybe one more song left with the active breath to give you an idea of where you're at if you're like, I can't do this anymore. Breathwork can be like that. It can be like physical activity, like something we're doing that's really uncomfortable. I mean, that's part of the point. We're moving out the backlog here so it doesn't get so stuck. We're sweeping the dust of life so it doesn't form this huge mound in the corner that takes 2 weeks to deal with. You're choosing to work through it now versus blowing up at your next door neighbor tomorrow. Because of nothing they said, they just maybe triggered the backlog. Right? It's kind of like walking into that big pile, like opening a door and there's this big pile of dust in the house. You're going to open the door and the dust might fly everywhere. Versus having it, swept away. There's a lot to say about clearing your space. You can do this by literally cleaning. You can do this by breath work. Remember, you're still breathing here as I'm talking. And if I'm annoying you, feel free to just turn the mic or the sound off and just keep breathing. Come back in like a minute. Hopefully what I'm chatting about is helpful. Another way to clear your space is cleanse with smoke. Every culture under the sun, as far as my research shows, has done that just in different ways. Different cultures have different herbs they use and different ways in which they smoke. The smoke can help get into those tiny little particles, right? Smoke is so light and airy, it floats. It moves stuff. So that's another way to clear energy, go into like the corners of spaces and of structures. Corners of yourself, you can smoke, clear yourself. You can also come to breath work. And in bite-sized pieces too. Sometimes you need an hour-long practice. Sometimes you need these shorter practices, sometimes even shorter. You can just do it for a minute or two. Preparing for a big speech, or you're in your car and you're about to get out and you're like, oh, I don't want to go do this thing. Maybe even just a few breaths. Move it through. You're just doing a little bit of dusting off of the countertop versus, spending the whole day cleaning the kitchen. And then maybe, in a month or so, you come back and you actually clean the whole kitchen. Our bodies need the same attention if we want to be clear of that backlog. All right. Last few breaths here. I think that's the end of that song. Let's do 5 last breaths together. Last one. And release the active breath. You're still lying down. And now you get and I already just feel it doing the 5 breaths. Release the active breath. You don't have to think about it anymore. Now you get to relish in the beauty of all your hard work. Allow a deep sense of relaxation to come over you if that's there. Give into gravity. Allow yourself to just melt into the surface you're lying on. Let your eyes feel heavy, or let the tears continue to fall. Let yourself continue to laugh and smile. Or be really excited about the ideas that are emerging in your thoughts. You also may still feel some heaviness depending on what you're working through today with this practice. Know that that's okay. It's a common thing when we do work like this and we're quote unquote done and we don't feel the way we think we quote unquote should. Another thing I don't think exists, should and shouldn't. Done with it. So over that. Helpful and unhelpful, that's what I say. We feel the way we don't feel the way we want to feel sometimes after these practices. And the internal self-talk can come in and say, oh, you're such a horrible person. Oh my God, you're so crappy. Like, look at everybody else. They must be feeling amazing and you must have done this wrong and you're stupid, and fill in your own blanks. know that it's normal and it's human to still feel a little oof after energy practices. That's okay. Maybe you have a little bit more to move. Maybe you breathe a little bit longer after we close here on your own. Move through a little bit more. Maybe you need to go for a jog or smoke cleanse yourself or clear your space a little bit, brush yourself off. Also, sometimes one of the hardest things about being a human on this planet is sometimes we simply just need to let ourselves be in the funk. To move through it. That saying, you gotta feel it to heal it. One of my teachers, Portia, said that to me often, a lot. I think when we first started working together, I was working through a lot of stagnation and a lot of depression, what we call in the West. We call it stagnation in Chinese medicine. I had a lot of grieving to do, so often the grief would come up, and that's actually, when we think about it in energy, it's the opposite of depression. Grieving is actually moving, and the way we do it in the West, we don't really know how to hold, many of us don't know how to hold space for it. It can be tough. So I'm sharing this with you. If, all those seemingly fun emotions and sensations you're not experiencing, I want you to know that that's also normal. Wherever you are, it might feel good to take in a few deep breaths here as we come to our close. If it feels good, you can come back and join me in a seated position, basically as I just read you my closing. But to have some eye contact, even though I can't see you, to have the connection can be nice. To know that you're not breathing alone, you're not in this alone, whatever you're experiencing today, in whatever realm, seemingly good, seemingly bad. If you're moving, if you're a little stuck, know that you're not in this alone. I'm here with you, and you have everybody else who's ever going to join in to this video. We're all tending to this fire that we're making right here, right now. Thank you for watching. One day I'll have this down. This is, let's see. Oh, right, we're Facebook Live. Hello, Facebook Live people. This is for you. This class will be free on this platform. Actually, we have YouTube users as well. It will be free on these platforms until the end of July. So basically, I think we have one more week, maybe, if I'm right. If you enjoyed these classes, know that you can sign up for a Y virtual Y membership at ymcanorth.org. Click on Virtual Y and join now. It's $9.99 a month, and you will have access to over 5,000 videos on demand. Everything you know the Y for is on there. Bootcamp, yoga, Pilates, other things kind of like this. There's meditation. I think it's pretty great. So you can check that out. Y members, if you're watching Facebook, hello, thanks for watching. Know that if you're not signed up for Virtual Y, know that you have access to that through your membership. So just go, I usually do I just Google Virtual Y, quite honestly, and you can sign up for Virtual Y. All right, and the last thing I want to say is if you have any comments, questions, or feedback, please leave them. It's helpful to have interaction with you all. And the way you do that is when this class ends, scroll past all of the classes, you will come across a Virtual Y feedback form. There's a currently pink, submit feedback button. Click that, fill out the form, send it. I will get that information. I will be able to read it and hopefully respond. And that's all I have for the end. Thank you so much for joining. Hold yourself in compassion today if that feels good. Know that you're not alone in these practices. And you're part of a community here that we're building. And I thank you for being a part of it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Sarah, and this is Cardio Dance. Are you guys ready to work out? Let's do it.
I woke up feeling like this gon' be my day. I got that poppin' fire every step I take. Living that wild life.
Through the bag. Go. That's where we want to go.
Last 10 seconds. I'm right here with you. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Y. My name is Erin.
I'm Jennifer.
My name is Linda.
My name is Tommy, and today we're going to do a quick step routine.
We feeling like we can conquer the world today.
I wish you all could smell it. It smells so good.
Time. We get stronger in my world. We're going to do it again.
We'll see you again. Keep working hard. You did awesome.